Hello, and welcome to this live discussion. I'm here with an extraordinary leader named Buffy Payne. Hello, Buffy.
Hello, Kim. How are you?
I'm doing great today. I am so excited to talk to you about women using their voice.
It's a good topic to talk about.
It's such a good topic to talk about. And being that I've worked with women and helped empower women to tell their stories for minimum of 10 years now, I hear a lot of things, I'm just going to call them things, about telling our stories, using our voices. I guess some people in the coaching world refer to them as limiting beliefs. And I think a lot of times that is the only thing stopping women from using their voice and telling their story. I'm wondering, as you've been working with women a very long time as well, what do you think are some of the main things that hold women back from speaking, writing, putting their story out there? Or maybe it's not a story, maybe it's their how-to, their wisdom. What's holding women back?
So I think it's a couple things. One, I think there is some of the wisdom of not knowing how to get the story out there, right? Is it a book? Is it speaking? Is it a movie? Who knows? But it's just the not having the wisdom. Two, there's a lack of confidence with women on wanting
Yes.
to believe that their story matters, that their story will be interesting to someone else, or that their story will make an impact with someone else. And really bolstering women's confidence that what their story is interesting to someone else.
Yes.
It's been a significant challenge that I've seen.
Have you had a challenge in that confidence department with your own story?
I think I did many years ago, right, in telling the story. I had a coach at one time that said, the most difficult thing that you encounter in work or in life is the thing that you should learn to do over and over and over again until you build the confidence in your ability to do it and do it
Love
well.
that.
Yeah. And so I think that applies in all aspects of our life, right? If work is hard or there's something at work that challenges you, you should do it over and over again until you become the expert in that area.
Yes,
In life, right?
absolutely.
You have a
That's so
story,
good.
you should share that story and keep sharing it until you can tell it and tell it well.
Yes, I totally agree. I've found that some of the main objections I hear from women who have a story, or even the women who are like, do I even have a story? Then that follows with, isn't it kind of, prideful or braggy to just like write a book about me or get up on a stage and talk about me?
Mhm.
And I mean, and these are women who know the word, love God. They know that Revelation says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. They even know the Great Commission, which is go ye into all the world, preaching the good news. And
Right.
all of our stories have some good news in it, right?
Yes.
And still they think it doesn't seem Christ-like to go and talk about myself. What would you say to those women, Buffy?
I would remind those women that we are crafted by God and
Yes.
that our story comes from Him and that He's carried us through our story. And in all of our stories, there is good message, there's good news to share, and that your story may make the difference in the life of someone else.
Yes. Yes, I totally agree. I was thinking the other day about women who say, I feel compelled to speak. I feel called to be a voice, but I don't even know where to begin. I don't know what I would talk about. I don't know where I would talk. Who is going to let me do that?
Right.
I think that goes back to your point number one, the wisdom or the logistics of actually putting your story out there. How do I get my story published? Where do I find a stage? And what would you say to those ladies today, Buffy?
I would say there is a plethora of opportunities to get out there and tell your story. There are, I mean, even as small as starting with a church or your community, there are groups that are hungry for speakers, that are looking for a woman to come and share their story. And you start there, and starting something very close to home helps with the confidence, right? And you never know who in that audience is going to say, I loved your story. We need you to tell your story at this event, at this
Yes.
meeting, right? Or I know someone that could use your story and would love to hear your story. And that's
Yes.
just how it starts, something that simple.
I love that. Well, something I didn't mention at the beginning of this live is that Buffy Payne is the Few chapter president of Atlanta,
Yeah.
and Few is a place and an opportunity for women to tell their stories. Buffy, as you've been sharing your story more and more with the women in your area, women online, women of Few in Atlanta, I'd
Mhm.
love to know, what is some of the feedback you're getting? What are some of the things women say to you when you're done divulging maybe something vulnerable or
Mhm.
something powerful from your life? What are they saying to you?
I think the things that have been the most impactful that I hear from other women are, wow, I needed to hear that, right? Because I've struggled with something similar in my life, or they're amazed at the things that I've done throughout my career and throughout life. And they just want to know more. They just want to hear more. They find it fascinating. I had the opportunity to speak at a women's event just a few months ago with Monica Kaufman Pierce, and she was well known in Atlanta as a news anchor for WSB TV. And afterwards, she and I stood on stage and talked for another 15, 20 minutes. And she was just amazed at all of the things that we do between Few and our other organizations. And she's like, wow, you need to tell your story more. Women need to be inspired by the things you do. Um, and so those are the ones, right? Just women
Yes.
saying they needed to hear it. And if I can do it, they feel like they can do it.
Yes. Yes. Our stories actually infuse courage into the listener. If we needed courage in the story, guess what we just imparted?
That's
If
right.
we had to face a fear, we just gave them more motivation to face their fear. If we overcame giant obstacles, we just imparted the strength to them to overcome. I mean, stories bring with them a true impartation. We think that what we're experiencing is just emotion when
Mhm.
we hear story, but it's so much more than emotion. It's impartation. We have an opportunity when we listen to a speaker to actually borrow some of what they have and make it our own.
Yes.
That's why I'm so passionate about empowering women and equipping women to not just write a great talk or write a great book, but to have all the know-how to put it out into the world, to get on stages, to get in front of the camera, because your story isn't just going to make someone feel good for a moment. It's
Mhm.
going to impart something to them for a lifetime.
That's right. That's right.
What a privilege it is.
It is.
And so if we think about what we're imparting that they're going to get to walk away with, is
Mhm.
it really about us ever at all? I mean, it's literally serving people.
It is.
It's literally serving their highest need, especially if your story or your information is instructing them on how to live a higher life, a more extraordinary life, a more overcoming life. Then it's pure service to share with them how you did it, what God did to get you through,
Mhm.
what miracles that you experienced that are just as available to them as they were to you. It's the highest form of service to put a hand out and say, come up here with me. If I did, you can.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure going on the journey with them.
Amen. Isn't it though? Oh my goodness. It's so true. I want the women listening to us today, Buffy. I know
Mhm.
that God is beckoning his daughters there are so many daughters of God right now feeling that nudge, feeling that urge to be a voice. They're struggling with fear, they're struggling with imposter syndrome. They might be thinking about that, not wanting to sound like they think they're all that in a bag of chips, whatever those limiting beliefs are.
Right.
But I just had this revelation this morning about all these things that we tell ourselves to not take the leap. All of them are rooted in fear, all of them. But on the other side of fear is your purpose.
Right.
On the other side of fear is fulfillment.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of that fear is a ripple effect that you'll never get staying where you are afraid.
That's right.
So I would love to know from you, what was one of the most surprising outcomes of your yes to be a voice? What was one of your most surprising outcomes?
I think my surprising outcome is the fact that I am possibly weeks away from a book being published. Yeah.
That surprised you because you just never imagined you'd be a published
Yeah.
author?
No, that's not anything that I ever really thought I would do.
Wow.
I always joke that I should write a book one day with all the things that I've done, people I know and whatnot. But the reality is, I'm like, that's not me. I'm not going to sit down and ever write a book.
Wow.
But here we are. We're
Yes.
getting
And
very close.
it's a good one, you guys. Just wait. We're going to just leave it at that big teaser. It's going to be so good. I love that. So Buffy, I wondered, as you continue to go out there and share your story, and now you're doing it multiple times a week. You're not just doing it at your few gatherings there in Georgia. You're doing it when you're asked to speak. You're doing it one-on-one over coffee. Are you feeling more sure than ever that someone is out there waiting for your story?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just last week, we had a few gathering, and we had 5 new women in the room, and they didn't know me. They didn't know my story. And afterwards, I've talked to each one of them, whether it was via email or a call or a text. And they were all like, wow, your story's amazing. And I want to be part of this. And how can I get involved? And what more can I do?
Wow.
And so it's just the more you tell it, the more you share it, the more impact you're having. And so that's empowering. That's a blessing.
Yes. And when I hear you speak, you've moved me so many times, but when I hear you speak, I think what really gets me is just your heart. Your heart comes through your message, no matter what you're talking about, your desire to see women live everything Jesus died for them to live. Your values come through, your commitment to God comes through. And I have found that to be so contagious when I hear you speak. Have you been in a room with a speaker where you're like, whatever they've got, I want it?
Oh, yeah. Oh, sign me up.
Yes. And I just want the women watching us today and listening today to hear this. That can be you. That can be you. You can share your personal story with Christ, your testimony. It could be your faith testimony. It could be your family story. It could be your business story. It could be a health story. It doesn't matter what in specific it is. If you're speaking from your own experience, your journey with God, speaking from your heart, you are absolutely giving something to the audience that they're going to say, I want what she has. I want that confidence, or I want that faith, or I want those miracles.
That's right.
I want that boldness, or even I want that vulnerability. How can she stand up there and tell such a revealing story?
Right.
And yet, while the speaker is up there telling you her deepest, darkest secrets, you feel the chains coming off of you. That's what's possible.
It is. It is. I've
Yeah.
seen it happen.
So if someone's watching and listening right now, Buffy, and they're saying, I know this is for me. I know God is telling me to do this. I know the only thing stopping me is fear. I know I'm the next one. I'm
Mhm.
the next one to be in front of this camera talking about my story. What would you tell her? What next steps does she need to take? And how can you help her?
Wow. So there's so many things we can tell her. Visit thefewwomen.com. There's options, right? She can sign up to attend a few a few gathering, right? In
Yes.
Georgia or there in Wisconsin with you. If neither one of those locations work, we can do virtual. This is a good thing, right? We can get you online. We can talk to you
Yes.
on the phone. Um, and then there are a plethora of education opportunities available to that woman on that same website, right? And if she's thinking about becoming a speaker, she's like, look, I've got a story in my heart, but I don't quite know how to get it out. We have a speaker course coming up in September that we would love to have her be a part of. It's a 3-day event in Dallas, Georgia, or virtually, but we'd rather have you in Dallas, Georgia.
Yeah.
Because it's so much more fun. And not to mention all the good chocolate, but that's a whole different conversation. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's so many opportunities for women through Few and just reaching out, engaging, have a conversation, send us an email. Let's figure out what it is that you need and let
Yeah.
us walk alongside you.
Yes, exactly. And this Few Certified Keynote Speaker course, it is one of our 3 professional level certifications. It is back by popular demand. This is a course we normally do once a year, and
Mhm.
we're bringing it back not once, but 2 more times this year because of the response, because of the outpouring, because of the need for women who are saying, help me put together my talk, help me polish my talk, help me figure out what is my brand as a speaker, where do I go, where do I begin, how do I begin to use the worldwide free platform of social media to begin to provide hope and life and courage to the people around me. We check all those boxes. Plus, we laugh, we cry. We cry a lot because I'll tell you what, on day 2, when all the women stand up and give their 8-minute talk,
Mhm.
it's a tear fest.
It
It's
is.
unbelievable. You feel like you're going to church because you're just hearing God's story after God's story, and your faith is so enlarged after
Mhm.
this event. But you're getting incredible feedback from everyone in the room. You're getting business tips, how to turn your speaking into a business and actually monetize it so that you can help provide for your household through the gifts God's given you, through the call that He's placed on your life. We've got all that and
That's right.
so much more. Buffy,
Absolutely.
what are the dates of your course in September?
They are September the 20, the 26th, the 27th, and 28th. It helps if I'm looking at the right calendar.
Yes. Yes. And we are offering that course here in Wisconsin as well, October 17th, 18th, and 19th. And we are so excited for the next upcoming class of confident keynote
That's right.
speakers,
That's
as
right.
we are going to help you be confident, own your story, speak your story, be all of you. Don't try to be anybody but you, because we're here to celebrate you. We're here to empower you and equip you. And we want to see you launched. We
That's
want to
right.
see your story all over the place. Because you know what? There might be some really empowered women in your world. I know I have lots of really empowered women in my world, but compared to the need in the world, we're a very, very small company of women. We
Mhm.
need many, many, many more
That's right.
to complete this call. We need women all over the globe activating one another for all the women in the world to be reached. Amen.
Amen.
Yes. I'm so excited about this. I can't wait to be with you next month in September in Dallas, Georgia. Myself, Nancy Major, and Buffy Payne will be presenting in Dallas. And then here in Wisconsin in October, it will be myself, Nancy Major, and Melissa Hughes. So you guys just go to thefewwomen.com, or if somebody wants information about Few Atlanta, Buffy, would they reach out to Julie via email, or how would you want them to do that?
They can absolutely reach out to Julie at thefewwomen.com, or they can reach out to me at Buffy at thefewwomen.com. Either one of us will be happy to share more about Few Atlanta.
Or you can go to the Contact Us page at thefewwomen.com about any of the above, to reach Buffy, to reach me, to talk about the speaker course, publishing opportunities. We are here to accelerate God's daughters and their divine destinies, to just annihilate these limiting beliefs that are standing in your way, and to watch you run like you've never run before. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you, Buffy, for this wonderful chat. I just love what you're doing in Atlanta. The women there are so blessed to have you as a leader among leaders.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thanks for being here.
Yes, we'll see you all soon. I will be back here on LinkedIn Live, YouTube Live, and Facebook Live tomorrow at 1:30 when I go live from the Joy 1340 studios to record my second episode of Extraordinary. So I'll see you guys in about 24 hours. Have an amazing day, Buffy.
Thank you.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.